There is a moment that makes a lot of women feel cruel, even when they are trying to be loving. It is when you ask him to be more open, more honest, more vulnerable, and then he finally is. And something in you tightens. You nod. You stroke his ego. You say the perfect line. And inside you think, why do I feel turned off right now? Picture the scene like a quiet movie you have watched too many times. He sits across from you, shoulders slightly rounded, voice softer than usual, and he says something true. I do not always feel good enough. He admits, eyes flicking away like he is bracing for impact. And you smile the nice smile that says, I can handle this, but your chest goes a little cold. Not because you lack heart, but because you have been trained to translate tenderness into a job. The good woman role is trained for this moment. She is trained to soothe, to smooth, to keep the room comfortable, to carry the emotional bags so nobody has to put them down and unpack. And when a man finally shows a tender truth, she might reward him, but she might also silently punish him by losing desire, losing respect, or turning into a therapist instead of a partner. This is where connection starts to thin, not because he is weak, not because you are hard, but because the old rules have taught you that power comes from managing the tone of the room. So you keep him upright. You keep yourself impressive. You keep the conversation tidy. And you call it love. What if that tightness in you is not proof you are broken? What if it is proof you have been living under rules that were never designed for real intimacy? Patriarchal rules do not only shape men, they shape women too. And one of their quietest tricks is making you believe that being good is the same as being honest. So this video is not about blaming him, and it is not about blaming you. It is about the shadow of collusion, the secret agreement you did not know you signed, where you protect the old dynamic by hiding your real response. And it is about what happens when you stop cleaning up the truth for everyone else and start letting it land, clean and human, in the room. It starts in a place that looks harmless. A friend's living room, a little too warm, laughter bouncing off the walls, the clink of ice in a glass that sweats onto your palm. Someone lights a candle that smells like vanilla and smoke, and you tell yourself you are fine. You are social. You are easy to love. He is there, smiling big, telling a story with perfect timing, and everyone leans in. His voice is confident. His hands move like he is conducting the room. And you watch him do that thing where he becomes the version of himself people applaud. You laugh at the right moments. You tilt your head. You play your part beside him. And from the outside, it all looks like connection. But you notice something small and sharp. His eyes skim past yours like they are skipping a stone over water, never letting it sink. When someone compliments him, he glows. But when you reach for him with a quiet look, he turns it into a joke, a wink, a performance, and you feel that familiar pressure in your ribs, the one that says, do not make this heavy. You become the good woman without even deciding to. You refill his drink before he asks. You smooth the conversation when it drifts towards something real. You laugh a little louder so nobody notices the silence that lives between you. You are managing the atmosphere, like it is your responsibility to keep the night pleasant. Then you catch yourself doing it, and a hot embarrassment rises in your throat. Not at him, at you, because you realize you are not actually in the room. You are above the room, watching it, calibrating it, trying to keep the balance. I hate that I do this. You slip away to the bathroom for a second, holding your phone like a shield. The mirror is too bright. your lipstick slightly smudged at the corner, and you stare at your own face like you are trying to remember what you wanted before you started performing. In the hallway, you can still hear him laughing, the sound of it easy and practiced. And in that tiny space, with the door locked and the faucet dripping once every few seconds, you feel the cost. You are the one keeping him strong. You are the one making it look good. And you wonder, quietly, what would happen if you stopped? A few nights later, you are across from him in a tiny restaurant, the kind with low light and a candle that makes everything look gentler than it is. A silver spoon catches the flame when you stir your drink, and for a second, the whole table flashes warm. You can hear other people talking in soft layers around you, but your attention keeps narrowing to his face. You have rehearsed this sentence in your head all day, not in a dramatic way, just in that quiet way. Women rehearse things they are afraid to say wrong. You take a breath, and you say it like you mean it. I want you to open up more. I want the real you. He looks down at his hands like they have suddenly become interesting. His jaw shifts once, like he is deciding whether to go into the truth or go around it. Then he does something that is both brave and terrifying. His voice drops and he says, "Sometimes I feel like I am always trying to measure up." He does not make it funny. He does not decorate it. He just puts it there. And something in you tightens. It is quick, almost invisible, like a muscle flinching. Your smile becomes a little too bright. Your words arrive too fast. You reach for comfort the way you reach for a napkin. Automatic. Oh, no. You are amazing. You do so much. You are fine. You say it with warmth. But you also say it with relief. Because if he is fine, you do not have to sit in the mess of feeling. You wanted vulnerability, and now that it is here, you are trying to clean it. This is where collusion lives, not in some dramatic betrayal, but in the small, polite agreement where you protect the old dynamic by hiding your real response. You want him to be tender, but only in a way that does not make you scared, only in a way that does not make you feel responsible, only in a way that does not ask you to risk anything of your own. So instead of meeting him, you manage him. You lean forward and soften your voice and become the supportive woman, the one who knows how to hold everything without shaking. Inside, you are watching yourself, and you know you are doing it again. You are making sure he stays upright. You are making sure the table stays calm. You are making sure nothing spills. But what you do not say is the real truth sitting under your tongue, that when he gets soft, part of you fears he will collapse. That when he admits he is not sure of himself, part of you feels less drawn to him. That when he is honest, it asks you to be honest too. And that is the part you have not practiced. He looks back up and you can see him waiting, not for reassurance, but for contact, for you to be real with him, not just nice. And you feel the candle flicker once, and you realize intimacy is not a perfect mood. It is two people staying in the room when the room stops being polished. Later that night, you are alone in the bathroom, and the mirror is fogged from the shower you did not even fully take. The towel hangs crooked on the hook like someone left in a hurry. You wipe one clean streak with your palm and stare at your own eyes, as if you might catch yourself mid-lie. You replay the dinner like a scene you can pause and study. The moment he got soft, you got efficient. The moment he got honest, you got shiny. I notice how many women can describe his patterns in detail, but go quiet when it's time to describe their own. A pattern I keep seeing is a woman protecting the relationship from discomfort, and slowly realizing she has protected it from intimacy too. Here's what tends to happen. She becomes the manager of everyone's feelings, and then wonders why love feels like work. In that fogged mirror, you finally let yourself name it without dressing it up. The shadow is not a monster here. It is just the part of you that learned love means staying agreeable so you do not lose your place. You remember every time you said, "It's fine," while your stomach went tight. And you called that maturity. You press your fingertips to the sink edge and feel the cool porcelain ground you. A small line rises in you, almost childish and honest. "I hate that I do this." Because it is not only that you comfort him, it is how quickly you erase yourself to do it. You reward his tenderness only when it is neat and brief. Then you wonder why he keeps you at a distance when things get real. You look at your face again and see the split second where you choose performance over contact. Not because you are fake, but because you have practiced being good more than you have practiced being true. And you realize something that stings in a clean way. You cannot build intimacy on editing. The next night, the living room is quiet. Television off. Just the glow of a digital clock on the shelf. It reads 10:31 p.m. and the light makes the corners of the room feel softer. Almost like a confession booth. He sits on the couch with his phone in his hand, and you can tell he is doing that thing where he types. De lettuce. Types again. He is not searching for pretty words. He is searching for true words. You watch his thumb hover, and you feel a strange tenderness. Not the kind you perform. The kind that actually hurts a little, because you recognize the fear behind it. The fear of saying the real thing and watching someone's face change. Before you speak, you open your own notes app, not to craft a speech, but to keep yourself from slipping back into the good woman reflex. You write one sentence, ugly and honest, and you do not polish it. When you get vulnerable, I panic and try to fix it. You stare at it, and your throat tightens because it is so simple it cannot hide. This is where radical honesty begins. Not as an attitude, but as behavior. It means you say the real sentence in a calm voice, and you do not chase him to make it comfortable. He finally looks up and says, "I do not know how to do this right." His voice is small, almost embarrassed, and you feel your old instinct rise like a wave, reassure, soothe, rescue, make it go away. Instead, you put your phone down on the coffee table. The wood is cool under your palm. You let the silence be there for 2 breaths. Then you say, "I want you to be honest with me, and I need to be honest too." He blinks, like he's surprised you did not turn it into a pep talk. You feel your heart knock once against your ribs. You are not trying to win the moment. You are trying to stay in it. And then you say the sentence you wrote. Not dramatically, just plainly. When you share something tender, part of me gets scared, and I start managing the room. I do not want to do that anymore. There is a beat of stillness where neither of you knows what comes next. It is not romantic. It is real. And in that beat, you can feel the old rules loosening. Not because you conquered them, but because you stopped obeying them. It is midday. The kind of day where the light is too honest and everything on your desk looks slightly chaotic. A mug with cold coffee. A receipt you meant to throw away. Your laptop humming softly like it is tired. Your phone lights up with his name, and for a second your stomach does that small drop. The one that has nothing to do with love and everything to do with anticipation. His message is half there. Not cruel, not warm, just vague enough to pull you into old habits. Been thinking? You can feel your good woman reflex reach for the keyboard. 3 softening paragraphs appear in your mind before your thumb even moves. You want to ask the right question, offer the right reassurance, create the right outcome. You want to carry the emotional bag so the hallway stays clean. You start typing, then you stop. You stare at the screen, at how bright it is, at how your own reflection faintly appears in the glass. You realize you are about to do the same thing again. You are about to manage the moment so you do not have to feel the uncertainty inside it. I almost text. I don't. Not because you are playing games, because you are trying to be honest. So you write one sentence, no extra softness, no long explanation, no apology for having a spine. When you are ready, say it clearly. Your thumb hovers for a heartbeat. Then you press send. The message leaves like a small stone dropped into water. Simple. Undeniable. Then comes the hardest part. You do not chase it. You do not add another line to make it easier for him to swallow. You do not check your phone every 30 seconds to see if he is angry, relieved, or gone. You sit back in your chair and feel the quiet that follows. It is not empty. It is space. Because that one sentence is a boundary. But it is also an invitation. It says, I will meet you in truth, not in fog. It says, I will not be your translator anymore. It says, I am done colluding with vagueness to keep the peace. And in that moment, connection stops being something you manage. It becomes something you allow, or you do not. After you send that one sentence, you expect to feel calm. Instead, you feel a small storm under your skin. Your mind starts producing reasons to undo what you just did, like it is trying to protect you from a punishment you cannot quite name. Maybe that was too harsh. Maybe he will think I do not care. Maybe he will pull away and I will deserve it. You stand up and walk to the kitchen, then back again, as if movement could make the anxiety evaporate. The clock still hums in the background of your life. The same steady glow. The same indifferent passing of minutes. You pick up your phone, put it down, pick it up again. This is the moment where inner fear gets misread as outer truth. Your fear says, he is going to leave. So you translate it into a fact. He is leaving. He does not want me. I pushed too hard. And suddenly you are not responding to what is happening. You are responding to the story your body learned a long time ago about what happens when a woman is direct. You can feel the old rules rise up like a script you know by heart. Be pleasant. Be easy. Do not make a man feel pressured. Make it smooth. Make it light. Make it so he never has to face his own uncertainty. Those patriarchal rules do not always arrive as a man's voice. Sometimes they arrive as your own voice, inside your head. Wearing a friendly tone, they whisper, if you want love, be good. And being good starts to mean being smaller. You open your messages and type, hey, I did not mean it like that. You almost send it. Your thumb hovers. Then you notice what you are about to do. You are about to erase your own clarity to make his reaction more comfortable. You are about to resume your job as the manager of everyone's feelings. You let your hand drop to your lap. You breathe once, not as a technique, just as a decision to stay. You tell yourself something plain, something that does not sound spiritual, just true. I can survive his discomfort. The fear is still there, but you stop treating it like a prophecy. You look around your room and see simple objects. The coffee table, the folded blanket, the faint smudge on the glass. Evidence of real life, not fantasy. And you realize the connection you want cannot be built on constant editing. So you do nothing. You do not send the softening text. You do not chase him into clarity. You let the boundary stand. And for the first time, you feel a new kind of power. Not loud, not punishing, just steady. That evening you find yourself back in the bathroom again, not because you are spiraling, but because it is the only room where you do not perform for anyone. The mirror is fogged the same way it was before, steam softening the edges of your face. The towel still hangs a little crooked, like the house itself is admitting it is not perfect. You look at your own mouth and practice a sentence out loud, quiet enough that it barely counts as sound. I want closeness, and I also want honesty, and I will not pretend. It feels strange to hear your voice without padding. No joke, no smile to make it digestible, no apology for needing something real. This is vulnerability, but not the collapsing kind. It is the kind that stands upright. It is the kind that says, I am here, and I am not going to trade my truth for temporary peace. When he finally replies later, his message is clearer than before. Not perfect, but clearer. He says what he has been circling around, and you feel the old urge to jump in, to fix the tone, to make it end on a pretty note. You resist it, not because you are cold, but because you are trying to let the truth have its full shape. You meet him with one honest line back. Thank you for saying it plainly. I can do plain. Then you put the phone down and sit on the edge of your bed for a minute, hands flat on the comforter. The fabric is slightly rough under your palms. You feel your heart beating, and you realize you are not trying to control the outcome anymore. You are letting the connection reveal what it actually is. And if he cannot meet you there, you will grieve it. But you will not go back to being good in the way that makes you disappear. A few days later, you are back at the same desk. The same messy constellation of ordinary things. The cold coffee mug. The receipt you still have not thrown away. The laptop fan breathing like a small animal. Your phone sits face up beside the keyboard, and you notice how different it feels when you are not bracing for it like it is a verdict. You think about that one sentence you sent, and how it did not explode the world. It just clarified it. There is a quiet image that keeps returning. The bright screen at midday. Your thumb hovering. The temptation to add softness like sugar to bitter tea. And then the simplicity of not doing it. You can almost feel it again in your body. The moment you chose clarity over charm, that is the lesson. But it is also an invitation. Connection does not ask you to be flawless. It asks you to be present. And presence starts when you stop colluding with vagueness. Stop cleaning up the truth for everyone else. Stop rewarding half honesty because you are afraid of what full honesty will demand from you. You have a clean standard now, and it is not cruel. Do not trade your truth for temporary peace, because peace bought that way becomes distance later, and distance turns into resentment, and resentment turns you into someone you do not recognize. You will still feel the old reflex sometimes. You will still want to smooth the room, rescue the mood, make it pretty. You might even catch yourself doing it mid-sentence and feel that familiar shame rise. Let it rise, then let it pass. Go back to the simplest objects when you need a tether. The glow of the phone screen, the cool edge of the coffee table under your palm, the crooked towel in the bathroom. Little reminders that real intimacy is not an aesthetic. It is a practice. And when he shows you something tender again, try this. Do not rush to soothe it. Do not turn it into a job. Stay with it for 2 breaths and see what happens when you let his truth touch yours without interruption. If he meets you there, the relationship will get quieter in a good way. Less performance, more contact, more moments where you can say what you mean and still be held. And if he does not, you will have something even more valuable than a managed connection. You will have yourself, intact. If you've lived this, tell me what the quiet taught you.